Well, thank you very much, Ken Workington. Welcome, everybody, to Meadowlands Pace weekend here at the Big M. And yes, indeed, we are joined by trainer Tony Alagna. And, Tony, it was back in 2013. You had the Meadowlands Pace favorite as well. In Captain Treacherous, you dominated the final. That had to be one of the greatest nights in your career.
Yeah, that was just a tremendous night, you know, to come to the Meadowlands, which I always consider my home track, and to win with a horse like him was just a phenomenal feeling.
And, Tony, you had been very successful prior to the Captain, but every horseman needs that big horse, that marquee name, to really push you to the top, and the Captain did that for you and more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when he came out at 2, you know, we had a lot of hype behind the horse. First crop Some Somewhere with a phenomenal pedigree maternally. And for him to have that great 2-year-old year, to be Pacer of the Year as a 2-year-old, there was a lot of hype coming back into his 3-year-old year, and he lived up to it.
And you've got the favorite in this year's Meadowlands Pace in the morning line. That's Racing Hill. Really seemed to break loose at Lexington last fall. You won both weeks of the Grand Circuit. Before that, he'd been a good horse, but really didn't look like a great horse. But he really popped out in a big way there.
Yeah, when I had him up in Canada, he just was a virtue of some bad luck, bad draws as a 2-year-old. And I could never get him healthy, and a lot of allergy problems. And we put him on Lasix. And when he came back at Lexington, he was just vicious. He won both weeks there. He won the Breeders' Crown Elimination back in Canada, and then just had some bad luck in the final of the Breeders' Crown. He was following American Passport when he made a break and lost his momentum, and just didn't turn out the way I would have liked.
Well, we just saw the roll into the North America Cup stretch drive. What a great race. You guys wore down the pacemaker, controlled the moment. You won the battle, but lost the war because betting line got by. But your horse raced his eyeballs out.
Yeah, I was tickled to death. You know, in his elimination, you know, he got rough going up the inside, but I thought he had a nice shot that night to win the whole thing. And I flew up there midweek. We made a shoeing change, switched him to 4 aluminums, and it really seemed to make the difference. And I couldn't have been more happy with the way he raced in the final. You know, Casey's horse got us late, but no shame in getting beat to betting line.
Nobody got you late in the HAMP. Let's take a look at the stretch roll in there, and your horse just dominated. Really, there was never an anxious moment for him that I saw.
You know, the beauty of this horse, and Brett said it as well, is his versatility as far as, you know, there's not many horses you can jet out of there 1/4 and 4 and back off 1/4 seconds like he was a walk in the park. I mean, he's so easy to leave and easy to come back, and, you know, his versatility is what makes him such a threat.
You obviously have plenty of confidence in the horse, too, because you took a bye into the Meadowlands Pace. You bypassed the elimination, risking a bad post draw. You could have been saddled with the 9 or the 10. The 3-year-old Pacing Colts stake schedule is so tight with the Elims finals for the North America Cup, then the HAMP, then the Pace, then the Adios, then you got the Cane Pace. A week off was more important to you than a post.
Absolutely. You know, when Captain was the 3-year-old, they would give 3 buys that year, and 2 of my horses got buys, Captain and Wake Up Peter. And I raced a filly one time, Nikki Beach, in the Breeders' Crown Elimination. I passed on a buy when she was a 2-year-old. And wouldn't you know it, she drew the 9-hole, banged off the gate, made a break, and didn't make the final. So I said, I'll never do that again. So you learn from your mistakes, and I thought the horse needed the week. And, you know, we were fortunate enough to get a nice draw, so hopefully everything works out.
And last year you had Art Speak, one of the top 3-year-olds. It's kind of the same deal with him. He raced like 8 or 9 weeks in a row and seemed like a tired horse at the end of that run.
Yeah, you know, my biggest concern always with Art Speak coming back at 3 was he was such a high-energy horse. He burned a lot of calories when he raced, and you know, just 10 days from being away from home and going up to Canada between the North America Cup elimination and the North America Cup final, he lost 100 pounds. And he was a good eater, but he just sweated out so much weight when he raced that I was afraid that series would be very tough on him, and it was. And, you know, he showed everybody with just a small break going into Lexington and the Simcoe that's all he needed to show people that he truly was a good horse.
Well, I think if you patented that diet, I'd be the first to sign up for it. I could afford to lose a few pounds myself. Let's take a look at the Meadowlands Pace field, Tony. The cool thing to me is the main primetime players, on paper at least, are side by side by side, post 3, 4, 5, and 6. You've got the 2 horses you probably have to beat on each side of you.
Yeah, I mean, if nobody knew that it was an open draw, you'd almost thought that, you know, we'd all won and picked our posts. So you couldn't have lined up any better as far as that. So, like I say, it'll be interesting to see how the race shakes out. But I think I'm bringing the horse to the track in great shape, so I just got to leave that up to Brett.
Controlled the moment, unleashed a vicious kick to win the elimination. He's got Brian Sears driving now. Is he the colt you're most worried about?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he was the 2-year-old of the year last year for a reason, and nobody knows this piece of dirt better than Brian Sears. So, you know, Brett's going to have to figure it out and, you know, see what he does and track his every move, and hopefully we got the right horse to get the job done.
So did you just kind of hint at your strategy, track, control the moments, every move, or if you tell me, you'd have to shoot me?
Yeah, like I say, I totally leave that up to my drivers. All my drivers will tell you that I never tell them how to drive. Of course, I do complain sometimes after they drive one, but I never tell them beforehand.
Tony, you're a very intelligent guy. You have a very well-rounded perspective of things. I think you get the industry not only from a trainer's point of view, but an owner, breeder, racetrack operator. There's been a lot of talk about the card tomorrow with the trailers and the 1 1/8 races and some of the big events. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I see both sides of it as far as the pros and cons. You know, anybody that's putting this kind of money into these races to pay the nominations, the starting fees, they want their nose on the gate. Do they rather have the 11 hole than the 9 hole? Probably, but still, as a horseman, we want to see their nose on the gate. But we do understand that the bettor wants to see a bigger field. They want to see some versatility. They want to see more options. Horses mix it up. But my only concern tomorrow is I think this field has a chance on the right night, which the weather looks like it could cooperate, to break the world record. And, you know, that moment's been lost. People say time doesn't matter, but you tell somebody a horse wanting 46, it matters.
But by the same token, the elimination races don't seem to be the answer either. Like with Racing Hill, the week off was more important to you, and these big horses have to go 47, 48 every week. Do you really want to pound your horse up in the elim races to eliminate 1 or 2 horses?
Right. I see that point too, but I think that that could be answered very well watching the Meadowlands Pace elimination last week. I mean, they were mixing it up. Nobody was racing to be 10th last week. I mean, there was a lot of activity. There was a lot of movement. Horses were leaving, and I mean, nobody wanted to be just sliding in 10th. There was a lot of activity.
I know you don't have a dog in the fight, but the Houghton tomorrow, you've got Always Be Mickey, Wiggle It, Jiggle It, Freaky Feet Pete. Who's going to win that race?
It's an unbelievable race. I mean, I Always Be Mickey. What he did at Poconos that night, both weeks, was just phenomenal. Wiggle It and Jiggle It. I mean, he showed he's got the heart of a champion. And I mean, you know, Freaky Feet Pete, the way he raced last week to be pressed that hard early and just get beat down by the wire. I mean, it's a trip is going to win it kind of race, and I think it's something the fans are really going to enjoy.
Tony, good luck tomorrow with Racing Hill and the Meadowlands Pace. Thanks for everything you do for the sport, and best of luck.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Bob Hollywood Hayden to tee up the Saturday card here at the Big M. Next, hang with us.